Jan Ozer here from NAB. It's day 3. I'm here in the Encoding.com booth with Greg Heil.
Yes, hi. Pleasure to be here.
He is the co-founder and CEO of Encoding.com. Every year, Encoding.com puts out a global media format report that's been very useful for all of us, tracking which formats their installed base is using, their customers using for the previous year. And they just released one. It's available now, or an article about it is available now on the streaming media site. Wanted to talk to Greg a little bit about his findings. So how would you who are your customers and how do they represent the industry as a whole?
Yeah, so I would say our mandate and strategic focus from the perspective of Encoding.com is helping media and entertainment companies migrate on-premise workflows to the cloud. And so we are not by any means servicing the top end of the market that's at economies of scale like Netflix or Facebook or Vimeo that are doing transcoding on their own. We're bringing the infrastructure that a Netflix or a Vimeo has built in-house and making it available to media and entertainment companies.
Okay, and to the extent that HEVC is used by, primarily for 4K by really, really big companies, I guess your results are a little bit misrepresentation of overall use, though obviously representative of your customers and people below that tier. So what did you find in the report? Give me an overview of the codec side.
Yeah, that's right. So from an HEVC perspective, what we thought was interesting is that it was a watershed moment for HEVC in terms of Apple's announcement of support for the codec and HEVC in HLS. So what we saw was a big uptick in 2017 in our customers testing and putting plans in place to refresh libraries in HEVC. However, we didn't see any major production workflows move to that codec yet.
What's your sense of why?
I feel like in this migration from on-premise workflows to cloud, that there is a lot of heavy lifting that these companies are doing, migrating pieces of the media processing workflow to the cloud. Storage was the first one with multi-petabyte commitments to cloud storage providers. Basic transcoding was the next to move, which we were a big part of, and now other ancillary components of the media processing workflow, like standards conversion or QC, are now moving to the cloud. So I feel like they are focused on moving that infrastructure to the cloud and getting the optimization and economies of scale from doing so, and that once they do, they will focus in a little bit more precisely on fine-tuning their ABR stacks and codec stacks to save money and time on things like per title encoding are further out on the horizon than moving that basic infrastructure to the cloud.
So what were the numbers for HEVC usage, VP9, H.264?
So H.264 is still the lion's share, with over 80% of the codec volume, and we saw an uptick in 17 in HEVC from, I believe, 7% to 9%. Again, mostly testing, some small workflows out to smart TVs and HEVC today, but in terms of major production direct-to-consumer workflows, they're predominantly sticking around in H.264 for a little while longer.
What about VP9?
VP9 from our customer segment has really never taken off. Seen a lot of VP9 dash implementations in production and a lot of bifurcations, I should say, from a pure HLS workflow to an HLS dash workflow. But in that case, most of them are sticking with the H.264 codec for both dash and HLS.
Okay, and I saw the headline on streaming media, and I believe it talked about HLS still being the ABR format of choice. Is that?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. 3/4. So predominantly the biggest choice as an ABR stack. Yeah.
Okay, so any predictions or projections for 2018?
I really think we're going to start to see some HEVC, HLS library refreshes towards the second half of 2018. So we're really excited about that. We have the technology in place to support those workflows and happy to work with customers to get POCs going and to make that a reality to their production workflow.
Okay, not to put you on the spot, or
Sure.
If you're uncomfortable at answering the question, feel free. But there's still, at least in my mind, a lot of confusion about the best way to approach HEVC and HLS. What's the ladder look like? Is it H.264 at the bottom end, HEVC on top? Is it dual layers or of H.264 and HEVC like Apple has. Do you have any sense of that? Is that something you've worked through, or?
We haven't really worked through it, to be honest with you. I think that we will do so in the later half of this year, and we'll come up with some kind of best practices. You've identified a good point, and I think the reason that hasn't been fleshed out is that there's really not a lot of big production volumes going through that codec.
Okay, and we're standing in your booth, and we've got a background of grass. Can you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a live wall that we built, and it was my vision with this booth to try to do something a little different. I think that there's a lot of bright colors and billboards here at NAB, and sometimes at the end of 3 weeks you want to go to a little bit more soothing atmosphere to talk about media processing in the cloud. So we're giving away live fresh coconut water and our format report, and have kind of a little more relaxed environment than the other booths.
Okay, format report is easy to find on your website?
Yeah, it is. It's under the white paper section under resources of our website, and it's also in streaming media.
Okay, so listen, good to connect again, and thanks for taking the time.
Appreciate your time.